A very good morning, students. Back to your English class in Sri Ramanuja Vidya Mandir. We are getting along with the grammar session, that is sentence corrections. Fine. In today's correction of sentences or sentence corrections, we find errors in the words that often confuse. Of course, we've gone along with this previously, and then in the previous class I've gone with the confusion of tenses, where we often make mistakes in tenses, and here again we have some more examples with the errors that confuse us. Okay, so here we continue. The word some, any. Now when you use where to use some, where to use any. Now the incorrect thing is, can I borrow any money? Any is generally used in negative sense, students. When we are using a negative sentence, then we say any. For example, we say, I don't have any money. I don't have any money. This is the correct form of sentence. What is the incorrect one? What is the incorrect one? I don't have some money. This is wrong. I don't have some money, you don't say, but you say, I have some money. You say, I have some money, but you don't say, I don't have some money. Instead, you will say, I don't have any money. So you can see here, students, it says, can I borrow any money is wrong. Can't I borrow any money? That's correct. Instead, if you say, instead of using can, if you say can't I borrow any money, then it is correct. But you're not supposed to say, can I borrow any money? Instead, you have to say, can I borrow some money? So we'll have a look into the rule, student. Some is used in questions for making a request or for offering something. We use some in questions or when we are making a request or an offering. Any is generally used in negative sentences. Any is used only in the negative sentences. So you can have a look into the examples. Would you like some money? Would you like some milk? So I'm asking a question, and when I'm asking a question, I use some. Would you like to have some money, or would you like to have some milk? Can I borrow your laptop? Why is this used here? Would you like some milk? Can I borrow your laptop? I don't have any friends. Okay, this is a request made where we use, can I borrow your laptop? But I don't think this is sensible, students. Okay, can I borrow some pens? Can I borrow your laptop, he said. But instead I say, can I borrow some books? Let us not consider this. I don't know why I made this mistake. I'm sorry. Can I borrow some books? Because here we are generally going for the word some. So I ought to use some. I forgot. I made something mistake there. Would you like some milk? Can I borrow some books? I don't have any friends. So you have observed here, students, that we generally use, as told in the rule, we use some in questions for making a request or offering something. I'm offering. Would you like to have some milk? I'm offering milk. I'm requesting. Can I borrow some books? So some is used in borrowing or in requesting in questions, whereas negative sense, any is used in negative sense. Next, we'll go for the next one, that is comparing two qualities of the same person. How are we supposed to compare two qualities in the same person? I've completed this even in your errors when I'm explaining you in your grammar class. Jack is wiser than strong is wrong. Jack is more wise than strong. So when we are comparing the same quality in two people, Jack is strong and Jack is wise. But what is he more in? He is more wise than he is strong. So the sentence say like this. Okay. Jack is wise. Jack is strong. Jack is wise and Jack is strong. Now, which quality he is more? The same person, but which quality is more? Jack is more wise. Than strong. That means, it means like Jack is more wise than strong. What is the meaning of than strong? That means than being strong. That is the meaning. You don't need to use being, but that is the meaning. Jack is more wise than, or you can say than he is strong. Jack is more wise than he is strong. So remember, students, here wise is generally used as in the degrees of comparisons as wiser. But when will you use wiser? When you're comparing between two people. Jack is wiser than John. So here we have two people, that is Jack and John. And when we compare a quality between two people, then only we are supposed to use wiser. But when I'm using in a same person two qualities, Jack is wise, Jack is strong. But he is more wise than he is strong. So Jack is more wise than he is strong. So you say that sentence like Jack is wise than strong. More wise than strong. So there you have to use more. I suppose you understand, students. When you are comparing between two people, degrees of comparison between two people is ER used, wiser. But when I'm having two qualities in the same person, I'm not supposed to use ER, I'm supposed to use more. Jack is wiser than strong is wrong. Jack is wiser than John or Jane. But when I'm having the two qualities in the same person, I'm supposed to say Jack is more wise than he is strong. Hence he is only strong and he is only wise. But other than strong, he is more wise. That's the meaning. So let us have a look into the rule. The comparative in ER is not used while comparing two qualities of the same person or same thing. When we are using a same quality, two qualities in the same person or the same thing, then we are not supposed to use ER. We are supposed to use more. We are supposed to use more. Rohit is wiser than brave. Rohit is more wise than brave. This is incorrect one. I mistakenly has put this here. You can say Mohit is wiser than Mohit is wiser than Ram. Because ER is not supposed to be used. Rohit is wiser than Ram. Next one. Or you can say Rohit is more wise than brave. Mohit is more wise than brave or than being brave. Next, senior than or senior to. Generally, when we are comparing somebody, we always use than, which is wrong. You're not supposed to say she is senior than me. She is senior to me. Remember the preposition used over here, mandatory, to has to follow senior. He is senior to me, but never used senior than me. The rule says to is the right preposition to use with senior. Senior will always be followed with to. Fine. Dravid is senior to Sachin in cricket. Dravid is senior to, not senior than. Okay, so we have to bear in our brains that whenever we are going with prepositions, there are certain prepositions following certain words. And you can't avoid it. You have to mandatorily use them only along with those words. Right? Example is, you can say, argue with. Suffering from. Okay. So, remember, when you are using your prepositions, you have certain words which will follow only certain prepositions. You are not supposed to go with other prepositions. Now coming up to the phrasal verbs. Of course, I've gone a lot along with the phrasal verbs and the idioms in the communication classes. We'll have a look into it once again. Smith came across with a beggar. Smith came across a beggar. Means as Smith was walking, he happened to see a beggar. Smith came across with a beggar. You are not supposed to use the preposition here. How can you say Smith came with a beggar? Or Smith came across a beggar. So you say, Smith came with a beggar. What mean? Smith came with a beggar means Smith came with a beggar. What does that mean? It means that he came along or he brought a beggar with him. A beggar escorted him or he came along with a beggar. So this is the meaning. What does it mean? He came along with a beggar. Or you can say, he brought a beggar with him. He brought a beggar with him. But supposing I say Smith came across a beggar. Smith came across a beggar. What does this mean? He came face to face a beggar. Or you can say, he met a beggar. He did not bring the beggar, but he met a beggar. So the difference is, Smith came across a beggar is, he happened to meet a beggar or he happened to become face to face to a beggar. Whereas in the previous one, Smith came with a beggar means Smith happened to bring a beggar or Smith was walking along with a beggar. So you can see the difference over here. Smith, you can't say Smith came across with. You can't use two words there. So we'll have a look into the rule. Come across is a phrasal verb which means happen to see or spot. Which means happen to see or spot. So came across. Came across. So this is a phrasal verb. Came across. What is the meaning of came across? He happened to see. Smith happened to see a beggar on the road, or he came face to face to a beggar, or he met a beggar. So this is a phrasal verb which means happen to see. So how can you say happen to see with? So look into the rule once again, students. Came across is a phrasal verb which means happen to see or to spot up somebody, to meet somebody. So use of with is unnecessary here. So you will never use the preposition with when you're using with come across, because it's a phrasal verb. Example is, I came across my aunt while I was going to my friend's home. I came across means I happened to meet my aunt when I'm going to my friend's home. Or I came across my aunt in the theater. Or I came across my aunt in my friend's party. So when you are going along with your, right? So what does this show? I came across my aunt while I was in my friend's party. While I was enjoying in my friend's party, I came across my aunt. Next one. Next, cardinal and ordinal numbers. First of all, we have to see which is the cardinal number or which is the ordinal number. So, cardinal numbers always will spectate the numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4. But ordinal numbers are like first, second, third, fourth. So you should know what is the difference between cardinal and ordinal. Ordinal numbers always will be, with article, definite article the. We have learnt in the articles lesson. So cardinal and ordinal, when you have both in the sentence, he is the first boy to come to school. The first boy. He is one of the boys. You don't say he is the one of the boys. Anyway, other than the articles, when we are having both of them, say for example, we have two, which is a cardinal, and we have last, which is an ordinal. Now, when we have a cardinal and ordinal in the same sentence, you should know the sequence of using it. You're not supposed to say the two last columns of the article are not clear. We often commit this mistake. The two last columns. No, the last two columns. So the correct thing is, first always you have to use ordinal, and then you have to use cardinal. This you have to bear in your brains. Never we have to use first cardinal and then ordinal. First we have to use ordinal and then we have to use cardinal. So the ordinal followed by cardinal. The last two columns of the article are not clear. So you can see here the cardinal numbers is used for counting such as 1, 2, 3, 4. Ordinal numbers is the number that tells the position of something like first, second, third, fourth. And an ordinal number always precedes the cardinal number. That means always you have to use first the ordinal and then the cardinal. Last two overs were really interesting. You're watching the cricket and you has found that the last two overs are very, very interesting. Last two. The first two girls, or the last second, the second three boys. So whenever you have a sentence having both of ordinal and cardinal, remember first is ordinal and then cardinal follows ordinal. Missing subject. Now these are common errors what we make. All what I'm telling you now, they are normal things where we get confused, like the ordinal and cardinal, or the subjects or the articles. We notice the man lying seriously ill and died shortly afterwards. We noticed the man lying seriously ill, we are talking about. We noticed the man lying seriously ill and died. So it doesn't make a sense. We noticed the man lying seriously ill. Whichever man is not feeling well for a long time, who's ill for a long time, that man happened to die. So you say, we noticed the man lying seriously ill and he died shortly afterwards. So we noticed the man lying seriously ill. We notice the man lying seriously ill and he died shortly afterwards. So this is the meaning. Don't say we noticed the man lying seriously ill and died. It doesn't make a sense. So the rule says the subject was missing after the conjunction, and so add subject he to complete the sentence. These are two sentences. The man lying seriously ill, the man died afterwards. So look students, the man lying seriously ill, the man died. The man who was lying seriously ill died afterward. That is correct sentence. We noticed the man who was lying seriously ill died shortly. That's a correct answer. We noticed the man who was lying seriously. We noticed the man who was lying seriously ill has died afterwards. So here you don't need a subject. You don't need a subject because you have used the relative pronoun who. This is one sentence. The man was lying ill and the man died. Two sentences, and you want to combine them. You are combining with a relative pronoun. You are combining it with a relative pronoun. So you don't need to again use a subject here, because who represents a connection to the sentences. It's relating both the clauses. So you don't need a who. But here we have the sentence, we noticed the man lying seriously and he died shortly afterwards. So because I'm not using a relative pronoun here, I need to use the subject he. We noticed the man lying seriously ill and he died shortly afterward. So you need a he, the subject, because it is not giving you, it is not showing you the relative pronoun. It is, if at all it is relating with a relative pronoun, then you don't need a subject added here. But because you are not having a subject added there, say for example in the incorrect sentence, we notice the man lying seriously ill who died shortly afterwards. That is accepted. If at all you are writing instead of and who, then it is correct. We notice the man lying seriously ill who died shortly afterward, because there is a relative pronoun used over there. But here, because we are not using a relative pronoun, if you are not using a relative pronoun, you ought to use again the subject he. So you have clearly understood through this. So the rule says the subject was missing after the conjunction, and so add subject he to complete the sentence. Fine. So we had enough of the confusing words to check our errors in constructing the sentences in today's class. We'll have some more in the next class. That's all for this day, students. Thank you. Have a nice time.